Greetings, cinephiles. Are you looking for a movie analysis podcast that stands above the rest? Then look no further than Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters.
We analyze good movies, we analyze bad movies, and yes, we also analyze the in-betweens of the world of cinema.
So if you like what you hear, find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.
And yes, my friends, we are 420 friendly. So when you listen to us,
Smoke it if you've got it.
And now, here's a new episode of Collateral Gaming. The show starts right now.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm Bo Maddox.
And this is Collateral Gaming. Welcome to Collateral Gaming, the only video game podcast that matters, where we focus on good games, bad games, and everything else in between in the world of gaming. We are podcasting straight from somewhere in Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast, so whatever you have, smoke it if you've got it. And the year 1997 has arrived. A herd of fucking ugly reds are rushing from the mainland. Crime rate skyrocketed. Hong Kong is ruined. Therefore, the Hong Kong government called Bruce Lee's relative, Chin, for the massacre of the Reds. Chin is a killer machine. Wipe out all 1.2 billion of the Red communists.
1.2 billion red communists. Jesus Christ.
1.2 billion. However, in mainland China, there was a secret project in progress. A project to transform the deceased Deng Xiaoping into an ultimate weapon.
Fuck, man. What the fuck, dude?
Ladies and gentlemen, you have just listened to the opening sequence of Hong Kong 97. Now, if you haven't heard of this game, it is considered one of the worst video games of all time. Like a couple of other bad game reviews we've done, it's hardly even really a game.
Just barely.
Just barely.
I mean, it's the gameplay itself is not what's most notable about it.
Agreed.
At all.
Yeah. So yeah, the legacy of Hong Kong 97, I think. It kind of transcends the medium in a sense, and we'll get into that. In fact, I really feel like the majority of our discussion won't even be about gameplay, but really just the context and the background of this game. But if you haven't heard of it, Hong Kong 97 was made in 1995. It is a bootleg game made on a floppy disk for the Super Famicom. It never saw a release. In fact, it only sold 30 copies in Japan at the time of its release, and mostly faded into obscurity until it was reviewed by one angry video game nerd. Like a couple of other of these games that we've done, sort of rediscovered this and brought it into the mainstream.
And bless him for that, because this game is quite possibly one of the greatest shitposts ever conceived in all of gaming. Like,
yes.
That's what it is. It's a complete shitpost. Just listen to that intro again. I mean, you can't take this shit seriously at all.
100% a shitpost. And what's crazy about this is it's such an obscure thing. I mean, it's a bootleg game made on a floppy disk that you had to attach something like a Magicom or another type of copier attachment to your Super Famicom to get it to work. There is, to my knowledge, only one known surviving copy of the thing, which was found by the ultra-healthy video game nerd. And if you haven't watched his videos on the topic, I highly recommend those, because Homeboy actually ended up kind of befriending the creator of this game, Kowloon Kurosawa, who we'll talk about later. And he really has the most information on the history and context of this thing.
Yeah, and it was really crazy to see him actually playing this shit on original hardware with a Magicom, with the floppy and everything. It's like, I mean, so for so long we've only known of this game as a ROM. I mean, emulation is really what made this game kind of permeate the consciousness of gamers everywhere.
Yeah.
But especially that episode that James Rolfe did, which is quite possibly one of his all-time classics, up there with like, Big Rigs or the Crazy Castle series or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's just really, really insane to think that just this weird little game that was just Kowloon Kurosawa just basically shitting all over Chinese politics would just eventually
and
come
video
through
game copyright
on the internet.
laws.
And to make fun of copyright laws, also to skewer that, it's like and it took on a life of its own due to emulation and everything, because for the longest time that was the only way to play this game. And it's like what you brought up earlier before we started recording. I mean, who was the one of those 30 gamers that found a copy of this and put the ROM online? Where did it actually come from?
That's what I want to know. It's a question that's yet to be answered about this, and a lot of questions have finally been answered. But yeah, like, where did this come from as far as the internet? Somebody somewhere had a copy. Maybe they just, bought a bunch of games on floppy disks and thought that, and just decided to upload them all as ROMs on the internet and had no idea what they had. I don't know. But somebody put Hong Kong 97 on the internet, and it started getting talked about in some internet circles, enough for people to suggest it to AVGN. But it wasn't until he did the review, of course, that it really became something known in the mainstream gaming consciousness. But man, yeah, I just want to know, like, the first person who found that ROM and just booted it up, like, what was going through their mind? It, inexplicably, even though it was never released outside of Japan, it actually contains both an English and a Chinese translation. Evidently, Kurosawa was actually friends with someone who had some knowledge of English and worked with a foreign exchange student from Hong Kong. And went ahead and just put those on there, it's just kind of mind-boggling to begin with. But it's sort of what allowed this game to penetrate language barriers and reach the awareness that it has.
I mean, yeah. I mean, thankfully, this didn't become a piece of lost media. I mean, that would have been absolutely tragic, because for one, we would have been denied that classic AVGN episode, but also, I mean, it's almost like a gaming rite of passage to play through at least one loop of this shit and just kind of experience Hong Kong 97 at least once,
Yeah.
Like, I have it on my modded PS Classic, and you can play it on RetroArch.
Yep,
So,
I'm playing it on RetroArch.
Yeah, it's great that this was preserved, man. There's so many other games that have fallen through the cracks, that quite a few that we're probably never going to actually retrieve. But to have this is just nothing short of amazing.
No kidding. That it's absolutely insane that this managed to fall through the cracks. This thing that only sold 30 copies and everything else was destroyed. Hong Kong 97 stands. It exists for us to witness. And what a thing it is to witness. Like I said, you boot up this game and you get that lovely intro that I provided here at the beginning of the episode. That is how the game starts. I mean, right after a brief message about selling your floppies to HappySoft.
Send us your floppy.
Send us your floppies. But I'm just going to start hopping in people's DMs and being like, send me your floppy.
Oh, no. Yeah. That's going to go over well.
Oh, it will. Trust me. But so you load up this game, okay? The first thing you'll notice, actually, as the opening text crawl comes across the screen is the music. Like a lot of other games at the time, it's a 6-second loop. But this one has lyrics, and it's actually a propaganda song, I Love Beijing Tiananmen. But it's just like a short 6-second loop of like the first couple lines of the song, and believe me, you will not get it out of your head.
What's crazy is that Yeah. The game version of the Beijing Tiananmen is actually a lot catchier than the actual song, because in the actual song, the actual words "I love Beijing, Awa Beijing Tiananmen," or "Awa a Beijing Tiananmen," or however it's pronounced. It's like that's just the first part of like the first verse of the song.
Yeah.
I don't think it's even the chorus of the song. So, I mean, it's interesting that they kind of just took that one little loop, and that's actually way catchier than the actual song itself. You know?
Yeah, I don't think I've actually heard the song itself in entirety, but this little
I
loop,
have.
this little loop is very catchy. You'll hear it in your dreams. And
Yeah, like if you actually hear the full song, it's like the melody kind of doesn't go the way that you think it would. It's kind of a little like the loop itself is kind of misleading as to what you would think it would be
really
melodically.
interesting. I'll have to give it a listen. But yeah, so that song will play on a loop, and it never stops. It doesn't even restart. Whenever you die and the game reloads and you have to sit through the opening menu, get to the title screen, sit through the entire story dump, it is just going on loop. There are no other sound effects, just that same 6-second loop of "I love Beijing Tiananmen."
I mean, probably at that time, that just having that one loop at that particular clarity to where it doesn't sound bit crushed all to hell, it probably took up a great deal of the ROM in the game itself. Honestly, that's probably why they couldn't put any sound effects in there.
Yeah, and you'll also notice quite a few other interesting assets. Right away you get, and you'll see this on the game's art that came included with the game, box art, cover art, if you want to call it that. But it's actually Jackie Chan from Wheels on Meals.
Yeah. and then I think there's also another asset where you have Bruce Lee, because supposedly Chin is Bruce Lee's relative. Like, I mean, it's like, he's a relative of Bruce Lee. I mean, you don't really specify what kind of relative. Is he a cousin? Is he?
It doesn't state. He's just his relative, and since he's Bruce Lee's relative, he must himself be a weapon of mass destruction, right? Using his body
enough to wipe out 1.2 billion of the red communists. I guess
you don't fuck with Chen.
Yeah, you don't fuck with anybody that can wipe out 1.2 billion, just genocide a billion people.
The entire population of China at that time.
at that time, yeah. And it's like, that's a little mind-boggling in its own
and
right.
Not
it's
just
like,
the men, but the women and the children too.
Jesus, man.
The fucking ugly Reds.
The fucking ugly Reds,
ugly fucking Reds, right?
Ugly fucking Reds. Yeah, and of course, I mean, you have quite possibly one of the first instances of the word fucking in a video game.
In a
especially in a Super Nintendo game. Yeah. And it would make sense that it would come from the bootleg market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is just wild. Playing this on a Nintendo console, man. Of course, the thing is anybody that bought this probably did know what it was, because acquiring it wasn't easy. We'll touch more on that later, but yeah, I mean, you jump into this game, you get the story, and you've got Teng Xiaoping, the ultimate weapon, who is actually just Deng Xiaoping. It's literally just Deng Xiaoping, who was alive at the time, but did die in 1997.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? It's like, so does China just have Deng Xiaoping like just in some warehouse somewhere ready to go just in case?
Yeah, but man, it would be like if somebody made a game today where you posted Donald Trump's face on there and you said the recently deceased Tronald Dump or something.
It would be amazing if somebody just did a reskin of this game with the Donald Trump.
That would be amazing. Oh my God.
Could you imagine that?
And he's just a floating head. That's what's hilarious. The ultimate weapon, once you get to him. So you jump into this. It's your standard 2D shooter. Nothing to write home about. It's very difficult. I haven't managed to really get more than a few seconds into the gameplay loop. I'm not kidding. But after a few minutes or so, eventually you come across the severed head of Deng Xiaoping. If you could make it that far without getting touched a single time, because it's one-hit kills.
I have actually made it to Deng Xiaoping a couple of times before I got bored of it. It's like, and then, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, and then Deng Xiaoping's boss pattern is very basic. I mean, he just kind of floats around and then just comes down real quickly, and he might just smash you and kill you.
Yeah, man, it's almost like the entirety of this project was done in a few hours.
Almost, right? You would think so.
No, that's exactly what happened, actually.
That I believe that 100%, and that is fucking amazing.
But yeah, the if you do make it to Deng Xiaoping, or Deng Xiaoping as he really is, right? Then the game just resets and you just keep going, and it never ends. I don't know if anybody has ever actually hit 1.2 billion to see if that changes anything, but
I doubt anybody will. But I mean, I'm surprised that there's nobody who's doing like charity playthroughs of this game to just see how many gameplay loops you can get through on this game. And it'd be interesting to see if there is a kill screen on this. In this game, kind of like like the old arcade games. Once you went past like 99 levels, that's where you get the kill screen, where you just can't go any further.
Well, at some point, yeah, the machine is just not going to be able to handle it. It's going to get to some absurdly high number that it just can't process. And some games actually put walls in so that you don't get into that, but other games just let you keep going, and just gets more and more fucked up. And this game, I imagine, has no measures in place to stop it. It'll just keep going.
Probably, yeah. You could probably, if you're good enough, you can almost infinitely just play the gameplay loop, I would imagine. Kind of makes you wonder. It makes you wonder if you trained AI to play it. Like maybe they could try to see how many gameplay loops they could get through.
This is a game that AI could build. Let's be real. Like, if you told AI to just create a game, this is probably something that it would come up with, given the right prompts.
You're not wrong.
But
you're not wrong at all.
But I mean, this is something you could put together on fucking Game Maker Studio. Okay, like you ever use the Game Maker tool? That you could put something together like this, and that was back when I was in like middle school. You could put together something like this. So that just goes to show you. But I mean, this was way back in the Super Famicom days, mind you. But still.
Yeah. So I mean, developing pirated games for that. I mean, from what I understand, the Japanese pirate scene was pretty pervasive at that time. I mean, it was very much looked down upon, of course, but I mean, you got all these weird, quirky games like the aforementioned Shinrikyo troll game, and this game. I mean, it kind of makes you wonder, like, what other weird troll games came out around that time in the Japanese underground scene. It's like they just went ahead and just trolled one of the biggest cults in Japan at the time that ended up committing a terrorist attack. It's like, I mean, you gotta admire that a little bit.
Yeah,
sort of.
In fact, there's more than one Shinrikyo video games, one of which was attributed to HappySoft, but apparently Kurosawa had no involvement in. And then there's one actually that Kurosawa himself did write, which if you watch, he has an interview with the Ultra Healthy Video Game Nerd, where he gets into a lot of the games that actually he developed up to and after Hong Kong 97. But jumping back into the game itself before we get into the history, like I said, it's very, very rudimentary. Perhaps the most shocking things, we've talked about what happens when you make it to Deng Xiaoping, but that's not the first thing you're going to see. The first thing you're going to see within a few seconds of booting this game up for the first time is going to be the game over screen. Well, what a game over screen it is. It is a still of an actual dead body.
Apparently, it's a Chechen civilian, I believe.
It's a Bosnian civilian from the during the Bosnian Civil War. Apparently, so when Kurosawa threw together this game, he used whatever assets he had lying around. So you'll see that there's a bunch of just like Chinese propaganda advertisements and things used as backgrounds, the Meals on Wheels photo. And apparently he owned
Coca-Cola?
He had Coca-Cola. He had rented a video just a regular video from the video store, not like some underground snuff film or whatever. No, this was just some regular ass, video store that he found this out, and it's Sheen Death Files 3. Apparently, it's one of the only Sheen Death Files that you actually can't find by chance. But it has been identified. It took the internet many years to find this out, but apparently, yeah, it's a video clip of a civilian casualty during the Bosnian Civil War. That's who it is. But there's no deeper meaning as far as Kurosawa was concerned. It was just something he had lying around because he was interested in the macabre, and he just threw it into his game. Like I said, this process only took a few hours between him and the Enix employee that he worked with, who has not been named for obvious reasons.
Could you imagine if there's some Square Enix exec that back in the day actually worked with him on this game? Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Could you imagine that?
Approached
That'd be
him
crazy.
because of because Kurosawa has a bit of an interesting history. I guess we'll finally get into his history here, but he started out as a kid. He actually was putting together some very basic video games. A lot of them probably wouldn't really even be considered conventional games, but he taught himself how to program, and he developed a few things and tried to sell it to make some money. Moved on to reselling Magicoms from Hong Kong and reselling them in Japan. Got a cease and desist letter from Nintendo saying, "Fuck you for doing that. This does not line up with our family-friendly vision." He said, "Okay, it's not worth it. I'm gonna go move to Cambodia or Hong Kong." I can't remember. No, I think he went to Cambodia later. But this dude travels a lot, and he started looking into I was in these seedier areas of Hong Kong, and just kind of seeing the attitude that Hong Kong had towards mainland China, and this kind of political climate with the remanagement or what do they call it? Reorganization of.
Yeah. I mean, this was a couple of years before Hong Kong would be turned over back to the Chinese government from the United Kingdom. That happened in 1997, incidentally. So.
That was happening, yeah. So there was this cultural attitude toward the mainland Chinese people that were migrating into Hong Kong at the time, and so Kurosawa, his real name is not Kowloon Kurosawa. Kowloon is actually a district in Hong Kong, I believe. Yeah. So it's obviously a pseudonym. But, he just observed these things and actually had made a living as a journalist, writing, all of these very, very interesting stories. There's one story in particular that actually talks about a pedophile that he knew personally and was with during the sale. And it's a harrowing story to hear. Ultra Healthy Video Game Nerd actually translated the thing. God, yeah. If you ever want to just lose faith in humanity, if you just want to just really hate humanity, yeah, go check something like that out. But Kurosawa always had this sort of interest in this sort of stuff, just extreme taboo topics. It really fascinated him, and you can this is what's leading up to Hong Kong 97. So apparently a programmer at Enix contacted Kurosawa and asked him to help to work together on this game to make Hong Kong 97, which essentially was a fuck you to Japanese video game copyright law.
Supposedly, the game was so horrible, it barely even came out on the Super Famicom at all. Stores rejected it, and its release status is a mystery. It's so rare that to this day, not a single cartridge or physical copy has shown up at all. I can't even find a picture of one. So the only way I can experience this game is the same way as the rest of the internet. No way. How do you like that soundtrack? That won't get annoying at all. I've heard games with 5-second music loops before, but not with lyrics. There's options for 3 different languages. Strange considering how the game didn't travel very far, at least not until the internet got a hold of it. Alright, I'm picking English. We will sell your original SNES games. 1/3 of the gross profit will be yours. We welcome games of any kind. Oh, I bet. So please send us your floppy. Send us your floppy. Would you like to sell our products at your store? We're looking for dealers worldwide. Enough already! How desperate could they be to sell this game? And I guess still nobody bought it because nobody can find a physical copy. Then finally the title screen appears. Jackie Chan. Apparently Jackie Chan is in the game, who I doubt gave any consent to HappySoft's or was even aware of it. The image is stolen from the film Wheels on Meals. The game was released, made, or at least copyrighted in 1995, but set in the future of 1997. The year 1997 has arrived. A herd of... This can't be real. No, somebody's pulling my leg. A herd of fucking ugly reds? Was a herd of ugly reds too weak? Did they really need the F word to fucking drive home the fucking point? This was before cursing in games was common. I remember how shocked I was when I first played Rambo on NES and saw the word hell. But here, they dropped the F-bomb! They did it! A game made for the Super Famicom! It's the closest you'd ever get to a Super Nintendo game that says fuck. And the music is still going. A herd of fucking ugly reds, period, are rushing from the mainland. Crime rates skyrocketed. Hong Kong is ruined. Therefore, the Hong Kong government called Bruce Lee's relative, Chin. Bruce Lee's relative. Just happens to be as skilled as Bruce Lee. Not a brother, a son, or even a cousin. Just some unspecified relative. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if you were related to, I don't know, Michael Jordan, would that mean that you're automatically good at basketball? Okay, so Bruce Lee is in the background, the guy at the podium is Chris Patton, former governor of Hong Kong, and over there is Jackie Chan. Which one is Chin? For the Massacre of the Reds, Chin is a killer machine. That's Chin? It's Jackie Chan playing Bruce Lee's relative Chin. Oh, Chin. What a name. Could it be any more common? Oh, wipe out 1.2 billion of the red communists. Stop. I can't take anymore. I haven't even seen the game yet. Oh. Wipe out 1.2 billion people. And if I'm not mistaken, in 1995, that would have been the entire population of China. Bruce Lee's relative is so powerful, he's the equivalent of 1,000 nukes. He's gonna murder the entire population of China by breaking their necks. Even when Bruce Lee would take down 20 people, it took him a little bit of time. But now comes Chin. You don't fuck with Chin. However, in mainland China, there was a secret project in progress. A project to transform the deceased Deng Xiaoping into an alternate... It's killing me. So apparently, for the character of Deng Xiaoping, they used an actual image of a real Chinese leader, Deng Xiaoping. Spelled differently, but pronounced very similar. When the game was made, this guy was still alive. Couldn't they have at least had the courtesy to wait for him to die before transforming him into an ultimate weapon? This is the most epic, absurd opening to any video game I've ever seen. Nothing compares! That'd be like if I made a game called New York 2017. Motherfucking demons from the planet Jupiter have arrived through the Manhattan portal. The leader of United States calls upon Master Joe, John Wayne's half-cousin's stepson, to annihilate the 2.5 octodecillion alien scum of the universe. However, on Jupiter's secret moon, a master plan is conceived to resurrect the astro-demonoid Dill Clinton into a mecha doomsday machine.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, especially given how it seems Kurosawa had a little bit of an influence on the underground Japanese game piracy scene. I mean, it only seems natural that something kind of shitpost like that would come from, that type of underground gaming culture, I mean, you'd have to imagine that, there was some real skeevy shit going on in a lot of those old games that were coming out at that time.
Oh, yeah.
From the underground. So, I mean, yeah, it's a seedy, he has some pretty seedy origins, needless to say.
Yeah, definitely. But they put this thing together in a few hours. They made a couple hundred copies, only 30 of which actually sold, and trashed the rest. They put the advertisement in underground magazines. So, because your target demographic was going to be people who were looking to buy bootleg or pirated games to play on Super Famicom using an attachment like the Magicom. So, you're already working with a very small demographic, and then that's where he advertised it in these little underground magazines. So you could he had like a P.O. box or something that you would mail the money to, and then you would receive the game. And the one known surviving copy is from someone who purchased directly from Kurosawa, apparently.
Wow, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, and
Damn.
Kurosawa himself confirmed it. So he was there and was able to confirm that the Ultra Healthy Video Game Nerds copy was a genuine, original version of the game, insert and all. So kind of crazy that not only does it exist, but that it was actually playable.
That's amazing. Yeah. He actually managed to, like I said earlier, he had it on original hardware with a Magicom, playing it on a CRTV, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah,
that's something that we have not seen. Nobody has seen something like that in over 30 fucking years.
No fucking kidding, dude. What a thing.
What the fuck, man?
What a thing to behold. But after Hong Kong 97, Kurosawa would continue to be in and out of the game industry, doing different things, travel to Cambodia, do some more journalism. He and the unnamed employee did work on one other game together, which was Miniska Police, or the Miniskirt Police. That was a game on PS2.
Oh, no.
And it basically is just a ripoff of Manhunt, but, all skeevy.
Oh,
and
no.
the girl's clothes disappear as she gets damaged.
Oh, no. It's not a rape lay thing, is it? Oh, no.
But
God damn it.
Other than that and maybe a couple other projects, Kurosawa kind of just, did other things, and this game just faded into obscurity until AVGN did a video on it, and the people started actually contacting Kurosawa on social media, asking him about the game, whatever they could send garbled through Google Translate.
Exactly, man. And what an episode of AVGN it is. It's one of the great classics, especially since much like Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, it actually, brought this game back into the internet's consciousness and kind of reestablished its legacy in that way.
Yeah. And what's really crazy about this is just when you're coming into it, like you're someone like AVGN or you're watching the video, the context here is really unclear. Like what is actually going on here? What's the intent behind this? And it's just trolling. I mean, they just came up with the most offensive shit. Or Kurosawa came up with just the most offensive shit he could think of. The whole, attitude toward mainland China thing, that was just something that he witnessed, and so he threw it into the game. There's no deeper meaning or anything. There's no political message to be had. It was just, I heard people have this fucking attitude, and I just wanted to throw it, just to create the worst, most obscene thing I could think of. And you have to admire that.
I mean, when you really think about it, it's kind of a really, really dank meme when you think about it, right?
It really is, man. Just the blatant use of people's images without their permission, including a dead body.
And how pixelated it all is, and bit crushed and all that. It's like Jesus.
And it's terrible and haphazard because
like,
that's 100% its intention. It's kind of like plumbers don't wear ties in a sense, Another game that was just this very obscure thing that was thrown together as to be bad, forgotten about, and then rediscovered years later by way of AVGN, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. And gaming culture is all the better for it, I mean, it's cool that we have these types of games that kind of showed up over the years, like even if they were originally so obscure, like, and they were ripe. I mean, this was ripe for the internet age.
Yeah, right for the internet age. I mean, this is just perfect. This is the kind of thing that you just love to see pop up, and it's another just fun kind of party trick. Imagine just you invite your buddy over, you go over to your friend's house, and somebody puts on this game, right? And it's just like, hey, check this out, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Exactly, man. I mean, it's one of those things where it feels like you just kind of had to be there, right?
Yeah. I mean, man, it's art is what it is. It's art, though.
Oh, pure art, like 100% pure art.
Pure art. I mean, this is just the kind
totally.
of thing that edgelords like us, the shit posters on Facebook, just love to see.
Mm-hmm. We aspire to it, right?
That's what's awesome. I mean, Kurosawa was just a fucking edgelord. That's what he was, man. Or is.
Yeah, I mean, I think he even ran an underground zine about gaming piracy and all kinds of other shit.
He ran a bulletin board site with apparently a lot of skeezy content and illegal things.
Sure. Yeah. That was Japan on the internet in the 90s. I can only imagine, like, to be honest.
But lighter reefer there, God forbid, right?
Right. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, you might be worse than a Yakuza if you do that.
But see, that's the other thing, okay? Now, you may not notice this if you're playing the game. You may not really, there's just so much going on screen and you're just trying to not die. But if Chin collects a syringe, he gets powered up. So if you read the little insert that came with the game, on the back of it, it states that Chin is a heroin addict. Now, mind you, these are the people that turn their heads if you smoke fucking weed in their country, right?
Oh my God!
In the 90s.
That is so fantastic, dude. I can't believe that. That is amazing.
It's amazing. So here's Ched. He's a fucking heroin addict, murdering all 1.2 billion of the red communists.
Jesus Christ, man!
You don't fuck with
like
Ched.
In a country where they will straight up put you to death for being for fencing drugs and shit, and they're sending a heroin addict to wipe out all the Reds.
All the ugly fucking Reds.
Wow. My God. It's like he anticipated 4chan almost, right?
Oh my God. I mean, there's so many things that this game predicted, right?
I know.
Shitposting,
so many things.
4chan, fucking the murder of, or the death of Deng Xiaoping in 1997 during the handover of Hong Kong to mainland China.
It's like, I mean, it's insane, It's something that could only have ever really existed in that particular point in time. It's something that could only have come out in that particular cultural zeitgeist and nowhere else,
Man, see, and this is why I love gaming. Don't let anyone tell you different, okay? Gaming is art. It is still art because of shit like this. And this shit continues to propagate, man. You still see shit about this. Like I said, the whole story. I don't remember when the Angry Video Game Nerd episode came out specifically, but the Ultra Healthy Video Game Nerd, that was in early 2018 when he found that copy of the game.
Wow, damn. Yeah, I think that the AVGN episode came out maybe few years before that, maybe a good 3 or 4 years before that. Maybe
the YouTube channel says 2015. So
2015. Okay.
yeah,
Well,
on his official
couple
YouTube
of years.
channel.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, 2015. Yeah, just a few years before then. Crazy to think about. And that was only 10 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean, you do remember James Rolfe saying it's like no known copy exists of it. Nobody has even seen this, and now we have a copy of it.
Now we have one.
That is, it's like the internet has there's a physical copy. The ultra healthy video game nerd has it. It's like now it can be archived.
Yeah,
it's like that's
like
awesome.
Indiana Jones says, that belongs in a museum.
It does. That should be in a museum. That should be a museum piece, not unlike one of the E.T. Atari games that was uncovered at the landfill.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's a priceless artifact.
Yeah, we really need to think about the preservation of video games like this, because there's so much lost media even among Kurosawa's works. Like anything else that he made besides Miniska Police. I mean, you just can't find. I don't even know. No, that one, retail copies do exist and you can find them. And I don't even think.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that they're that expensive either.
Interesting.
Or I could be wrong, but I know that you can find that, and they're out there. But I mean, this is just like it's a time capsule, Crazy to think about, and just the chain of events, really, One person out of the 30, that originally bought the game managed to hold on to it, uploaded it to a ROM site, or sold it to someone who sold it to someone who did, and it managed to find its way on the internet. The right number of people from across the world started looking at it and thinking about it, inspired the Angry Video Game Nerd to make an episode, and the rest is history.
That is so crazy. And once again, it just makes you think, what other games that we don't know about are out there like this, It's like there could be something even crazier than fucking Hong Kong 97, and we wouldn't even know it.
I mean, with the internet today, I mean, anybody can put together something crazy like this and throw it together. So it's not as impressive now as it was then, I think. I think that's what kind of makes this like a little slice of time. It was in direct response to a real thing, like a real actual issue, the copyright laws, which is a discussion we're still having today, especially with companies like Nintendo.
Oh yeah, definitely. Nintendo, the House of Mario, they go crazy on that. They're almost as bad as Disney when it comes to protecting their shit legally.
They are, but then again, when it comes to things like Hong Kong 97, I can kind of understand why they don't want that on their systems, or why there was
fucking Reds.
the need to ban these Magicoms in the first place to prevent people from doing that. I kind of get it, but at the same time, I'm just happy that somebody decided to circumvent those laws. Someone just said, "Fuck it."
Fucking, they just made the Magicom, which is an interesting piece of hardware in its own right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a really cool thing.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, it just literally copies the ROM onto a floppy. It's like that. That's crazy. Yeah.
Send us your floppies.
Send us your floppy. Yeah, you got to send your floppy.
Send your floppy. Well, I guess we'll sort of wrap things up here. I don't know how much more there is to talk about, unless you could think of anything, Bo.
Not necessarily. I mean, I think we pretty much touched on everything that involves this particular game, and basically the place that it has in gaming history.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, go ahead and give us your final thoughts then on Hong Kong 97.
Oh, well, yeah, the ugly fucking Reds, all 1.2 billion of them. I guess Chen's gonna kill all of them, huh?
He's just gonna kill all of them.
He's just gonna kill them all, yeah. Like I said, I'm thankful that something like this exists, and I'm hopeful that more games like this can be uncovered, because I mean, we're talking about game preservation. It's like there's so many games from the 80s and before then that are just lost now. I mean, it's like Kind of like how so much there's so much silent film that is missing.
Yeah.
You know, like it's tragic.
Oh, really?
And just to have something like this just somehow, somewhere along the way, actually survive and then make it to the internet and then gain new life like that, it's just, it makes you really hopeful. It makes you hopeful that there will be other interesting games that might come to light and everything, you know? I mean, there's even like entire arcade systems that Nintendo made that are still lost to this day, you know? Like there was a holographic arcade game that was like a light gun shooter that was only have a couple of prototypes and that's it.
Wow.
You know? Like it's important to keep these pirated games archived in their own right, because I mean I remember when Robert bought this little mini NES console, and it pretty much just had a fuck ton of bootlegged ROM hacks and everything. And I mean, it's still interesting to kind of go in and play them, because some of them are just basically ROM hacks of like Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers or something like that. But as far as this game is concerned, it's just such a lightning in a bottle thing, you know? I mean, you have, I Love Beijing Tenement, you have just the way that all of the assets were used, they were taken from like Wheels on Meals and Deng Xiaoping and all that. It's just such a weird fever dream of a story when it comes to gaming that not unlike Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, I'm glad that it exists, and I'm glad that Angry Video Game Nerd was able to bring it into the internet's consciousness the way it did. Yeah. So yeah, I live for shit like this. I live for weird little games that just kind of come out and just leave their mark on the world. So yeah, Hong Kong 97 is just this, it's a shit post. There's nothing to it. I mean, you almost wish that it could have been a twin stick shooter, but I mean, that would have been a little too much for this game, honestly. But I mean, yeah, man, it's like it's worth it to just play it like once, and maybe, but it's also worth it to have it in your ROM collection and to keep it archived, basically keep circulating the tapes, as MST3K said back in the day. Yeah, keep circulating that ROM.
Yeah.
And if any other games like this, I mean, if you know of anybody who has a game like this who and it's not on the internet, it's like, by all means, get it on the internet, man.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like otherwise you might get a situation like the Socks the Cat debacle, which is its own little enraging thing. But yeah, this is a really interesting gaming ephemera here. So yeah,
hell yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, this is really, truly, it's art, man. I respect the fuck out of Kowloon Kurosawa, and for the gamers that made this a reality somehow, along the way. This really is it's just a slice of gaming history that absolutely deserves to be preserved. And I'm so curious now about what else is out there. What have we lost? What do we not even know about? Man, it is a whole, there's a whole world out there, an entire dark web of gaming shit that just nobody knows about. Crazy, man. But I'm here for it. And Hong Kong 97 is like you said, Bo, it's a fever dream. It's something to just throw on and shock people with. The first time you see that game over screen with the dead body and Chin is dead, that's I think when it finally clicks in and you're like, okay.
Yeah, no, this is a shit post. There's other games that have come out on the internet that did similar stuff,
Yeah.
Like for instance, that Sad Satan game, like one of the non-illegal ones versions of that game.
Okay.
I mean, it kind of did something similar,
Yeah.
Used a lot of real life gore and everything.
I mean, that's just, yeah. That's it's some edgelord shit. And you know what? I think it's fucking hilarious. So yeah, I recommend anybody give Hong Kong 97 a try. just for the shits and giggles, man. I mean, this is something that's actually best experienced without the context. So if you have a friend that you want to just throw this game on for, man, yeah, this is something, again, like plumbers don't wear ties. That's something also like to just put on with like zero context and just see people's reactions to it. It's great, man. So hell yeah.
Really
Here's to
is.
Hong Kong 97 and all the games we don't know about that are like it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Bo. So what is going on with Collateral Cinema?
Well, we just released our episode on Doctor Who Day of the Doctor, the 50th anniversary special. That just came out this last Sunday, so check that out. According to my schedule, the next movie is going to be Rocky IV, and we should be joined by Reading Between the Reels and the 90 for Chill podcast with Cat Bus Russ. So, yeah, stay tuned for that. And also, we did do a director's cut for the first time in a while with Robbie from Conversations with Robbie Sherman talking about Lupin III Voyage to Danger. And that was a lot of fun to talk about Lupin III, I mean, excellent series to get into when it comes to anime.
Oh yeah, man. I had a blast on that one.
So yeah, that's what's coming up. And then of course, we will have Mean Girls coming up soon and our special season finale on The Room, doing a redux, and we will have Derek from Ratchet Book Club on that.
Nice.
So yeah, stay tuned for all of that.
Yeah, man, I'm so excited for the rest of the season, man. It's gonna be fucking great.
It is, yeah.
And wrapping up
really is.
season 8 of Collateral Cinema, season 7 of Collateral Gaming is also coming to a close, and we've got some great things in store for next season. But as for the remainder of this season of Collateral Gaming, this was part 1 of was originally Bad Game April. We're in May, pushing June now, so let's get. We'll have the second episode of Bad Game Month out here, hopefully very soon within this week, and that will be Bubsy 3D. If we can have that out before the end of the month, that'll be great. Also, I'm gonna throw together, probably just solo, but a double feature game launch review on Claire Obscure Expedition 33 and the 100-Line Last Defense Academy. Those games both came out the same day, and they're really good. Expedition 33 is so far my game of the year, so I want to talk about it. I'd like to have Megan to join me for a bonus round where we're going to do one of those here for the first time in a while on Doom Eternal, so that we can do our game lunch review on Doom: The Dark Ages. And then hopefully within the first week or two of June, we can have that out, plus parts 1 and 2 of Bushido Blade. That way we can be ready for the June release of the Switch 2, which will be our season finale. So we should have that out, at least part 1 out in June, where we're going to talk about Mario Kart World. And then in part 2, we'll talk about the Switch 2 lineup. And that'll be our season finale, wrapping up season 7 of Collateral Gaming. And yeah, I'm actually really excited to jump into season 8. It's going to be fun.
Hell yeah, man. Sounds awesome.
So yeah. And if you enjoyed this episode, leave us feedback on your platform of choice. You can help us rise up the ranks on Good Pods, or leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Let us know what you think about the show, about our episodes. If you have any suggestions, you can also reach out to us on social media. We're on Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can listen to the show wherever you get your podcasts, of course. If you want to support Collateral Gaming or Collateral Cinema, you can do so on our Collateral Media Dashery page, where you can get you some Collateral Media merch. I'm rocking the Collateral Gaming t-shirt right now. In fact, I have 3 shirts that I ordered from our merch store, and they're the 3 shirts that I wear almost exclusively. And I just rewash them and wear them again all the time because I love them. And
Nice.
this seems to be
Nice.
pretty good material. It seems like it's actually made pretty well. Unlike the last time I tried to do merch. You can,
Yeah.
you can also support Collateral Media on Buy Me a Coffee, and we do have a Patreon for both Collateral Gaming and Collateral Cinema. And we also do have Collateral Let's Play, kind of putting a hold on most of that right now. Like I didn't do a Call of Duty Saturday here this last week because I'm just like I'm still working through the backlog of episodes anyway. Let's just work on the other stuff right now because I've got a lot of games that I'm playing and a lot of content that I want to release before the Switch 2 comes out. So, well, it won't all be done before it comes out, but before we do the episode.
And hopefully soon we can get back to Phoenix Wright Wednesday as well. I would like to do some of that very soon.
Yeah, I think we can reboot that during the postseason for sure. And then sort of just stay on
definitely.
top of it,
Yeah.
maybe record a couple episodes at a time so we can release those bi-weekly or so. Coming into the next season, I'd like to have more Collateral Let's Play content. So you can go check out Collateral Let's Play on both the Collateral Gaming and Collateral Cinema YouTube channels. And I don't think there's anything else to plug.
No, I don't think so. No.
Well, if there is anything I missed, it'll be in the show notes, I'm sure. But I guess that's it.
All right.
Well, with all that being said, I've been Chan.
And I've been Deng Xiaoping.
This was Collateral Gaming, and we are out.
Out.
Collateral Gaming is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and game clips are owned by their respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.